voices. Hey, my puppy has awoken from his slumber. Okie doke, hello. As promised in my last video, I have a book haul for you today. It's probably going to be my last book haul in a very long time, so let's enjoy it together. So the first book that I want to show you is The Retribution of Dyer, which of course I've already read. I marathoned the three of them back in November when this came out. I had read the first one when it first came out and loved it. I love this series. I love the kind of atmosphere that Michelle Hodgkins creates, and I love the male love interest, Noah, who's British and brooding and a bit of a bad boy with a huge collection of books. My favorite kind of boy from books. One of my favorite things about this book is the banter. This book gives good banter. As a person who grew up watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I appreciate good banter, and this gives you good banter. At the beginning of the first novel, Mara experiences a trauma that has a great effect on her psychologically. And a lot of the first book, you kind of don't know if what she's seeing is real or if it's all in her head. And the way that Michelle Hodgkins writes it, it quite possibly could all be in her head, which is fascinating to read. So I really enjoyed the series. If you like the Shadow Me series, I think you probably would like this series too, because there's similar events, there's similar themes. If you haven't checked the series out, I totally recommend it because it's awesome. And then the second book I want to show you, I bought purely because of internet peer pressure, and that is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. This is a book that a lot of people were talking about back around Halloween, and I of course wanted to buy it because I'm a fan of haunted house stories, and this is sort of a twist on the haunted house genre. The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson is one of my all-time favorites. Also House of Leaves by that man that I can never remember his name, kind of in the same vein. So it's a big box store that's not IKEA but is like IKEA. It's called Orsk. And the store was built on this old prison, and so it's haunted by the old inmates. It's so good. It was a lot more gruesome than I was expecting it to be, which I liked because I was really surprised. I was reading some bits of it and I was like, ooh. So what a lot of people talk about when they show it is the aesthetic. It's made to look like an IKEA catalog, which is really cool. The cover, it's bright and shiny, and it has the prices of the different items, but it's not quite right because there's a creepy face there, and then you flip the back and it's the same image, but it's all dark and disturbing. One thing I really loved it, besides the aesthetic, is the beginning of the chapter titles. Every chapter title has like an item, like as it was a catalog with a description and a price, and then as you get further into the book, the regular items start to turn into torture devices, which is super creepy. So this is like a treadmill, but with like spikes in it. So yeah, I really love this book. I also really like the main character in this. She's really relatable, and yeah. And then the next book is also a book that I bought because of internet peer pressure, but I didn't actually like it. This is going to be controversial because this is a book that a lot of people really love, and I really didn't like it. And that is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is my first foray into E. Lockhart's writing. This is the first thing I've read by her. I'm not a big contemporary person. I don't read a lot of contemporary. Literally everyone read this book this summer and everyone talked about it, but they were all very vague in their descriptions because it's this big mystery and you don't want to spoil the big mystery. I went into this with preconceived notions. My preconceived notions were that it was going to be like a murder mystery on some private island and kind of like the movie Clue, and I was expecting like a murder mystery type thing. That's not at all what it was. It was like your average coming-of-age contemporary story, which is fine. I understand why. I think I understand why people enjoyed it. It's a distinct writing style that wasn't my favorite, but I totally understand why people enjoyed it. I just hated every second of this book. That's not true. Okay, the one thing that I did like about this book, I liked the fairy tale allegories in between chapters. I thought those were cool. But I pretty much hated everything else. I hated the characters. The characters were so self-entitled and annoying and just frustrating, and I hate the twist. I saw the twist coming from a mile away, literally since when they introduced it. I'm like, yep, this is where this is going. No spoilers, but it was so obvious to me. It's quite possible that you would like it because lots of people do, but just it wasn't my cup of tea. It's a very short book. Like, I figured when I started this, I'm like, oh, I'll read this in an afternoon. It took me over a week to get through just because it was so frustrating for me personally. My next set of books, my next 6 ones, are all books from Book Outlet that I got in my last order. The first book is a book I'm really excited for, and that is The Winter's Curse by Marie Rutowski. This is the first book in a trilogy. The second one comes out in March. I wanted to read it ever since I read the blurb when it first came out. Also the cover. The cover is like stunning. It's so beautiful, and it has the perforated like edges. It takes place in a parallel militaristic society where the conquering nations take the defeated as their slaves, so people are bought and sold, And Kestrel, I believe, is the main character's name. She buys a slave who intrigues her, and I think she falls in love probably, and conflict arises there. I just love this kind of sound of the atmosphere of this book, so I'm really looking forward to reading this. I made a rule with myself last year that I wasn't going to read any trilogies that weren't complete, but I think I might make an exception because the second one comes out real soon, and this one just sounds really cool. Then the next one I bought is also one that I've been wanting forever, and that is Deathless by Catherine Van Valenti. I actually don't know much about this book except for the fact that it deals with Russian folklore. In my last video, I told you how much I love Catherine Van Valenti's Fairyland series. So this is an adult novel, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. This is also really high on my to-read list. Next book I bought for weird reasons. One day I was going through Goodreads, and I was looking at the most rated books, like how many people rated, like Harry Potter, like hundreds of thousands of people has rated Harry Potter. And so I was going down the list, and this book has over 600,000 ratings, but it also has a very high rating for having 600,000 ratings. It has a 4.25 rating, and that is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. This is the 75th anniversary edition. And then the day after that I was going through Goodreads, I was on Book Outlet, and it was on the main page, and I'm all like, I think the universe wants me to buy this book. So I bought this book. I've never seen the movie. I don't really know much about what this is about. I know it takes place in the Civil War era, and that there's a sweeping epic love story, and I also know that the ending is quite sad, but that is as far as my knowledge goes of this book. I think it's won the Pulitzer Prize. I think it won. I knew buying this that it was going to be 1,000 pages because whenever I buy a book I look to see how many pages. I was kind of hoping it would be like the Game of Thrones mass paperback things where they're kind of compact. This book is so heavy. I don't know how I'm going to read this because it's just so heavy. Like, if you're carrying this around, this is not a book to read on the bus. I guess this is a book to read in bed where you don't have to carry it. It's so heavy. It's just a monster. Then the next book is also a book that I've been wanting for a while, and that is Strands of Bronze and Gold by Jane Nickerson. This is a fairy tale retelling. It is a retelling of the fairy tale Bluebeard, which is a fairy tale that I have become completely enthralled with. Growing up, I never heard the story of Bluebeard, and then when I got to college, and I heard it, and I read it, and I became obsessed. The basic story of Bluebeard is this woman is forced to marry this man, and this man tells her she can go anywhere in the castle or house as long as she doesn't go in this one room. And of course she goes in this one room. I'm going away, don't go in this one room. So in this particular adaptation, this girl's father has died, and she's forced to go live with her wealthy godfather in this beautiful abbey. It's in the backdrop of Mississippi, which I think is a really cool kind of gothic feel to it. The cover, I love the cover. The red hair and the green and the abbey, and then the back there's kind of like the bog. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one a lot. I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. This one sounds super cool. And then the next one I bought, I believe is a duology. I could be wrong. I know the second one's out. I think it's a duology, and that is Amy Santero's Reboot. This is dystopian, a world where people are killed and brought back to life as soldiers. And I guess they're kind of like zombies. You'd call them zombies, and they're faster and stronger, and they're able to hunt and kill people. And I think the girl in this story, her job is to train other new reboots, and one comes back who isn't quite as strong and fast as the others, and that causes problems. Sounds cool, really cool premise. A lot of people talk about it and like it, so looking forward to checking this one out. And then the next one also is a dystopian one. I love the cover of this one. The cover is so cool. And that is The Endgames by T. Michael Mann. Oh, the trees going into the creepy monsters. So in this one, the world has ended. Monsters have taken over the world. And there's this whole society game where people hunt the monsters. It's the story of two brothers, and I personally have a soft spot in my heart for brothers, so I'm looking forward to reading this one and checking this one out. And finally, my last set of books are the only books that I got for Christmas. I didn't ask for any books this Christmas, and weirdly enough, this is a book series that I've read but didn't own before, and that is Philip Pullman's The Dark Materials. Even weirder is that I had been looking at it recently thinking about buying it because I didn't own it, and my aunt bought it for me for Christmas without knowing that I wanted it or that I didn't already own it. But yeah, I read this series in high school and I loved it. I think Subtle Knife was my favorite. I don't remember a lot of the details, so I'd like to reread this at some point. Probably not anytime soon because of my huge, to read pile. But yeah, I'm really excited that it was so weird. I opened it and I was like, oh my god, books that I didn't already own, just not knowing. It was this cool moment of kismet. So yeah, this is my book haul. I wonder if I can hold them all. A lot of people do this with way more books than what I'm doing, so this probably isn't that impressive. Although, Gone with the Wind is crazy heavy. So these are mostly what was my November book haul, but now is my January book haul because I waited so long to film this entirely. So these are my beautiful books. These are my beautiful books. So thank you for watching. I will see you again soon. Leave a comment down below if you've read any of these books or any of these books that you love or hate, or we could talk about We Were Liars.